What's up guys, my name is Ace, and now that the early access part of the beta for PS4 is live, there's obviously been a lot of talk about the game, and one of the big things that's popping up a lot in the community now, and I'm getting asked about it constantly, is did they lower the time to kill on average compared to the alpha? There are so many people that are just wondering that, and now there's a bunch of people that are just claiming it as if it's already an accepted fact. And it has spread like wildfire. If you go to the subreddit, for instance, you have all these people claiming that the time to kill is faster in the beta compared to the alpha. And if you guys remember, I did a full time to kill analysis of the alpha, and therefore I have all the data from that, and now I've collected the new data for the beta, and I can answer this question right away. Did the time to kill change? No, it didn't change at all. It's still taking the exact same number of shots to kill. The rate of fire values are still generally the same. There may have been a couple very minor tweaks to rate of fire on a couple of the guns, but all of the guns that I've been able to test that we have access to based on the level cap so far, it's exactly the same as the alpha. So yeah, if you're seeing a bunch of posts and people claiming that the time to kill is faster in the beta compared to the alpha, that's just not true at all. However, people are definitely feeling something here, and I'm noticing that it feels like I'm dying way faster in the beta, and this has been a really big issue for me so far in the beta. For those of you guys that follow me on Twitter, you probably already know about my thoughts on this. But this is where I want to transition a little bit into my initial beta impressions. I'm going to be doing more of a full beta review once we get more playtime, especially once we get into the open beta, because that will be a much more representative experience. But I've got to say, my initial impressions of the beta are not very positive, unfortunately. I really was excited to get into this beta. On paper, a bunch of the changes they've made since the alpha are looking incredible. The graphics are looking so much better. The animations are looking so much better. They've made so many little improvements and stuff since the alpha, and things are looking great on paper. But when you actually get into the game, at least for me, this has been my experience, something is seriously wrong with the connections and the optimization. I've been really consistently running into situations where it feels like gunfights are out of my hands or largely out of my hands, and it's kind of like a coin flip as to whether or not the server is going to register my hits or whether or not it's going to feel like I die in 1 or 2 bullets from somebody that actually just shot me 5 times. It's been just terribly inconsistent for me for the most part. And the thing is, I've had the odd good game here or there where it seems like my shots are registering like they should, and it seems like I'm dying in an appropriate amount of time for how many shots the enemy actually fired at me. The big problem with this, though, is you no longer get to stay in lobbies. Lobbies are resetting themselves after just about every game. Every once in a while, you will stick in the same lobby, it seems like. But unlike the alpha, they've added that quick play filter just like we have in Modern Warfare, and now lobbies are disbanding after most games, which means when you do find one of those games where the connection actually feels great and things actually feel fair and balanced when it comes to gunfights, too bad. The next game, you're getting a completely different lobby. And this is a huge step back, and I hope this is something that they're just testing out for the beta, and I hope this isn't going to be following suit in the full build of the game. This is something that is really seriously impacting my enjoyment of this game, and I think it's one of the reasons I had so much more fun in the alpha, was when I did get a good lobby with a good connection, I could sometimes stick with that lobby for an hour or even longer and continue that good gameplay experience. Now I don't have that choice. On top of this, I've been noticing that I'm very frequently getting into games late. And when lobbies stick together and they don't disband after every game, I've got no problem with this. I understand that lobbies need to be filled up. I want lobbies to fill up because it really sucks when you're in a game and people start leaving and then nobody replaces it, because that just kind of destroys the enjoyment of that game for you. So I get it, you have to fill lobbies up. But at least if lobbies aren't disbanding, you just kind of accept the fact that this game's a write-off, you joined late, it's not your fault that you're losing so bad and being stomped on. You just stick with it to the end, and then you're guaranteed a fresh game if you just stick with that lobby. As it is right now, I've had several situations where I've joined a game that's in session, my team's getting stomped on, there's streaks in the air, and I thought, you know what, I'll try and stick with it, maybe the lobby will stick together. Of course, it doesn't, so it pops me into a new game, and guess what? Once again, I join a game that's already started. So it seems like most of the games I've played so far in the beta haven't been full games, and most of the time, if you're filling a lobby that you're joining, you're going to be filling into the losing team, because people are much more likely to leave games when they're losing compared to when they're winning. And I think this, along with the connection issues, has really impacted my experience of this game. And I find this to be so frustrating because, from a design standpoint, just looking at the gameplay and the decisions they've made around the gameplay, I love this game. I love how it's designed, and I really want to be able to experience it in a positive light. But all of those great gameplay design decisions mean nothing when I can't have a good experience due to connection or just joining unfair games that are already half over on a consistent basis. So yeah, so far, as much as I can see the potential of this game, and I can see how much I'm probably going to like it in the future once everything settles down, assuming they also stop disbanding lobbies all the time, as much as all of that sounds great, I'm not enjoying myself. I'm not having fun playing in the beta right now. I've been forcing myself to stream it and forcing myself to play it because this is my job, and I can't do much more than about an hour and a half or 2 hours before I need to take a break because I'm just straight up not having a good time. I actually had so much more fun in the alpha, even though it had all of its problems and it wasn't a very polished experience. It didn't look as good as the beta, and it had a lot of issues that the beta ended up working out. Even with all that in mind, the gameplay experience was way more fun in the alpha for me. It felt way more fair for me as well. Like, it felt like most of the time my connection was actually pretty good. Whereas in the beta, it feels like most of the time my connection is practically unplayable. And I kind of feel like I would have just as much fun sitting at my desk flipping a coin because that's what most gunfights feel like. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people asking me my opinion on the skill-based matchmaking in the beta as well, and I would say at this point, I have no idea what the skill-based matchmaking feels like because I don't know what a consistent connection experience feels like in the beta. I don't know if my enemies are really good players or if they just have such a significant connection advantage over me that they appear to be really good players based on my perspective. So I'm definitely going to be waiting for the open beta before I start sharing my sort of thoughts and mainly feelings about skill-based matchmaking in the beta, because at this point I really just can't tell due to the horrible connection experience I've been getting. Now, to be clear, I am confident that the connection issues, they will stabilize over time. I don't know if they'll stabilize throughout the beta at all, but this is actually a fairly common occurrence with Call of Duty. If you look at the betas or like the first week after launch, for instance, this is a very common occurrence, especially with Treyarch games. So I'm not really that surprised that these connection issues are happening. It's just really frustrating because I didn't have this same issue in the alpha. And I guess I got my hopes up and thought things were going to be different this time around, but that's just not the case in the beta so far. Now, on top of these issues, which are definitely the biggest issues for me, those are the main ones that are really holding me back from enjoying the beta so far, there are a few other little things that I've noticed as well that I feel like could use a little bit of tweaking. The first one is player visibility. While they have definitely improved the fidelity of the graphics and the game looks much better than the alpha, I'm finding on most maps, I'm having a very hard time spotting enemies. They just blend in with the background so well. On some maps like Cartel, for instance, there's a lot of shadows and stuff that enemies just really blend into. And I'm often having a very hard time spotting enemies, which doesn't feel very good or natural for the arcade-style game that this is. So I really hope that's something they can make some adjustments to. Maybe have a little bit of illumination or something on character models just to make them pop a little bit more than they currently are. I don't really know, but it really feels like something needs to change here because my eyes are just killing me after a short gaming session because I feel like I'm straining them so hard trying to look for those enemies that are just blending into the background. Additionally, something I hope they consider doing throughout the beta is increasing the amount of XP you're getting for leveling up weapons. Now, for the full build of the game, I think this progression rate is probably just fine. However, when it comes to the beta, we only have a limited amount of time to play through the beta. We only get 2 beta weekends, or 1 if you're on the other platforms. And I want to experience much more of the content, and as it is right now, it takes forever to level a gun up just to start using attachments, and most of the guns kinda suck without attachments, I've been noticing. And I really feel like this is going to cause a lot of people to just stick to a very small handful of guns throughout the beta. People aren't going to be branching out to lesser used guns because they don't want to invest all that time into a gun that's not that great so they can get some attachments for it and make it something that's okay to use. Instead, they're just going to stick with their go-to weapon that they already have all the attachments unlocked for and that they can do really well with. So when it comes to the beta, at least, I think they should at least double the amount of weapon XP that you're getting, just so that we feel more comfortable spending our very limited amount of playtime in the beta branching out and trying some new weapons and trying some new things. But with that, those are my main pieces of criticism so far for the beta. Like I said, I think there's a ton of potential with this game, and I can really see from the gameplay design decisions they've been making, for the most part, I'm actually very excited for this year of Call of Duty. It's just unfortunate that I can't find any enjoyment at the moment playing the beta until something changes with the connections or the matchmaking or whatever is causing these issues. Something's gotta change here. And with that, I'm really curious to hear from you guys. What has your experience been so far within the Cold War beta? Have you been noticing a lot of the same things that I've been noticing, especially the connection issues? Have you been experiencing that yourself? Or have things been actually pretty good for you? Just let me know those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.